There are about 150 passengers on your river cruise versus 3,000 to 8,000 on an ocean cruise. That one difference transformed our entire vacation. Here's why small ship intimacy matters more than you think. When most people think about cruising, they picture those massive ocean ships, the ones with water slides and casinos and thousands of people. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a completely different experience than river cruising. And honestly, until we experienced a small ship river cruise, we didn't realize how much the ship size itself would impact our entire vacation. Hi, I'm Eric. And after doing both ocean cruises and river cruises, I can tell you the difference between 150 passengers and 3,000 passengers isn't just about numbers. It's about the entire feel of the trip, the connections you make, the places you can access, the stress level, everything. So today I'm going to break down exactly why small ships create better cruise experiences, especially for couples in this chapter of life who want meaningful travel, not just entertainment. So let me tell you about the moment when we understood why small ships are different. We'd done a river cruise a few years ago, 7 days in the Caribbean. Embarkation day was chaos. Thousands of people checking in, long lines, crowded hallways, unbelievable. Forget about using the elevator. Trying to find our cabin while dodging luggage carts and confused passengers. By the time we finally got settled, we were exhausted. And that feeling of being one of thousands never really went away. Fast forward to our first river cruise. We arrived at the ship in Amsterdam. There were maybe 120 passengers total. Check-in took 10 minutes. A crew member walked us to our cabin and knew our names. By cocktail hour that evening, we'd already met half the people on the ship. And my wife looked at me and said, "This already feels completely different." And she was right. On a small ship, you're not anonymous. You're not fighting crowds. You're not stressed. You're part of a small community having a shared experience. And that really changes everything. All right, so let's break down the actual differences between small ship and large ship cruising and why it matters for your experience. On our ocean cruise with 3,000 passengers, we met maybe 5 people the entire week. It was just too big. You'd see someone at dinner and then never see them again. On our river cruise with 150 passengers, we made real friends. We sat with different couples every night at dinner. We'd see the same people on shore excursions, and we'd be able to compare notes. By day 3, we knew names, stories, and where people were from. And what surprised us most? Those connections made the trip better. We had people to share experiences with, to laugh with, to explore towns with when we got off the ship. At this stage of life, when you're traveling as empty nesters, those connections map. You're not just seeing places. You're sharing experiences with people who get it. On a river cruise, the crew to passenger ratio is incredible. And because there are only 150 people, the staff actually gets to know you. Our cabin steward knew we liked extra pillows. Our bartender remembered my wife's favorite drink. The cruise director knew we were celebrating our anniversary and made sure we had champagne waiting in our cabin. That level of personalized service, you don't really get that on a ship with thousands of passengers. It's pretty much impossible unless you want to pay huge extra fees. And here's something we didn't anticipate though, the lack of stress on a small ship. On our ocean cruise, everything involved waiting. Waiting for elevators, waiting in buffet lines, waiting to get off the ship at ports, waiting to get back on. It was constant low-level stress. And any of you that know me, you know how much I like waiting in lines. Now, on the river cruise, no waiting ever. You walk right onto the ship, meals are served at tables, no buffet lines. Getting on and off takes minutes, not hours. And when you're on vacation, trying to relax and reconnect as a couple, that absence of stress matters more than you really think about. Here's one of the biggest advantages of small ships. They can dock in places massive ocean ships can't reach. Ocean cruises dock at massive cruise terminals, usually miles outside the actual city. You have to take shuttle buses or taxis to get anywhere. River cruises dock right in the heart of town or the city. You walk off the ship and you're literally steps from the main square, from cafes and shops, historic sites. It's all right there. In Vienna, we docked right next to the city center. We walked off the ship after breakfast, explored on our own, came back for lunch, went out again in the afternoon. No shuttles, no logistics, just easy, stress-free exploration. That changes how you experience destinations. You're not rushed. You can pop back to the ship anytime. You can explore at your own pace. It's different. I can't even stress how different it is. Now, let me talk about something that really surprised us. How much the intimacy of that small ship enhanced our experience as a couple. On several of our ocean cruises, we felt lost. Not physically, but emotionally. Everything was big and loud and busy. There were shows and activities and constant announcements. It felt like we were being entertained, not like we were connecting. Now, on our river cruise, the pace was completely different. Mornings, we'd sit on the top deck with coffee, watch the scenery unfold. No crowds, no noise, just us and maybe 2 or 3 other couples enjoying the same peaceful moment. In the evenings, we'd have dinner at a table for 2 by the window, watching the sunset over castles or vineyards. The dining room wasn't packed or loud. It was intimate. It was elegant. After dinner, we'd go up on the deck, and there'd be maybe a dozen people scattered around us, all quietly enjoying the evening. That intimacy created space for us to actually talk, to reflect on what we'd seen that day, to reconnect in a way that's hard to do when you're surrounded by thousands of people in constant stimulation. At this stage of life, when you finally have time to focus on each other again, it matters. You don't want vacation to feel like sensory overload. You want it to feel meaningful, peaceful, romantic. Small ships can give you that. All right, let's be honest about what you don't get on a small river cruise ship. No water slides, no casinos, no Broadway shows, no rock climbing walls or zip lines, no massive buffets with 50 food stations. If those things are important to you, if you want that level of entertainment and activity, then ocean cruising might really be a better fit for you. But here's what we realized. We didn't miss any of that. We didn't need a water slide. We had the actual Rhine River flowing past us. We didn't need a Broadway show. We had Vienna's opera houses and Budapest's historic theaters. We didn't need a casino. We had wine tastings and family vineyards and conversations with local historians. The entertainment on a river cruise isn't manufactured. It's the destinations themselves, the people you meet, the experiences you have. And honestly, after years of raising kids and managing busy lives, we didn't want more stimulation. We wanted less. We wanted calm. We wanted meaningful. The small ships give you that. They strip away the noise and let you focus on what actually matters. The places you're visiting, the person you're traveling with, and the experiences that you're sharing. So here's my honest take on who small ship river cruising is perfect for. Small ships are ideal if you want to actually connect with other travelers and make friends. Prefer personalized service over anonymous crowds. Value stress-free travel over constant entertainment. Want authentic cultural experiences over manufactured activities. Are traveling as a couple and want intimacy and romance. Appreciate being able to explore destinations at your own pace. Small ships might not be for you if you love big resort-style amenities and entertainment, want lots of activity options and constant stimulation, prefer anonymity, and don't want to socialize, are traveling with kids who need pools and activities. So for us as empty nesters, small ships are perfect. We're past the stage where we need constant entertainment. We want meaningful travel, connection, culture, peace. And that's exactly what small ships deliver. If you're considering a river cruise and wondering whether the small ship size will feel limiting, trust me, it won't. It's actually one of the best parts of the experience. That intimacy, that lack of crowds, that personalized service, it transforms your entire vacation. So if you found this helpful, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I share honest cruise advice and travel tips specifically for empty nesters who want meaningful experiences in this chapter of life. Now, I mentioned earlier that on a small ship, you don't have massive buffets with 50 food stations. And you might be thinking, does that mean the food isn't as good? Oh no, actually, it's quite the opposite. Stick around because the next video in this series is all about why river cruise dining beats ocean cruise food every time. I'm talking about fresh local ingredients, wines from family vineyards, farm-to-table meals, and why eating on a small ship is actually a completely different and better culinary experience. Now, do me a favor, drop a comment below and tell me if you've ever cruised on both large ocean ships and small river ships. What did you notice about the difference? Or if you haven't cruised yet, does the idea of a small ship appeal to you or make you nervous? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Here's to choosing the right size ship for the experience you actually want. I'll see you in the next one.